Alright, so anyways, welcome back to the channel, Doodad Motorsports. We are doing a...
We're doing a build breakdown of the BRZ, the way it is right now. It's going to have different evolutions, but currently where it is on its first race, what it took to get here, the cost of the car, kind of just an overall breakdown of where it's at right now. So, starting off, I'm Caleb.
And I am Frank. I know I am bad about it, and I know we've done a few videos, and you probably, some people either A, know who we are, or B, they're just like, oh, there's these guys on their motorsports channel and they haven't introduced themselves. So anyways, that's introduction based, and now you know who we are.
So
you'll see this in the bottom.
So to start off, we were trying to find a vehicle going back and forth on what platform. We both knew we wanted a manual rear-wheel drive car. Didn't really care. We didn't want to get too crazy with power, too much money. Looked at 350Zs. They went stupid in price. So I was scrolling around, as many people do, on Coparts and came across this guy. Had a designation that it said it was a flood damaged and that the engine ran when coming in. So we bought it on auction, won the auction. I think the auction ended up being closed out at like $3,700. Then it had an extra like $1,500 in auction fees. Had to get the car delivered, and then we got it taxed, titled, and licensed. So all of that out the door. We were $5,100 into the car itself. That's without the engine. So then next thing, we knew we had a locked up engine. So then we were trying to go back and forth. Do we want to pull this one out and try to rebuild it? Do we want to try to find a junkyard engine? So thankfully we live in an area where we have quite a few options. So I searched the internet in Dallas for an engine, and we came across a junkyard engine that had around 100,000 miles on it, but it had a front end, had some front end damage from an accident. So the front cover was damaged, the timing belt was timing chain, sorry, was damaged, and so we took a risk on that to go ahead and pull it because it was a lot cheaper. I think we were talking $2,000 just for the damaged engine, where a full complete engine with maybe 60,000 miles was somewhere around
I think we were in the $5,000 to $6,000 range, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that was, we couldn't find one around here that was even available. So I mean, then you're taking a risk of, buying something online and then waiting for it to ship, and then you get it and like, what happens if we buy it and they're like, oh yeah, it ran when it came out. Well, now it's actually got locked up in the engine as well, because it seems to be a problem on these cars. So
so we then bought some parts from Subaru. Got the front cover. We spent about, ended up overall to get the engine in running condition, we spent another $2,300 in that. So we had the $2,000 in the engine, $2,300 in the parts to make it whole. So we had, once we got it apart, we found out we had a couple bent valves. We had a timing chain, we had a timing cam gears, and timing cover, and
water pump. I think we had some water pump damage, but then I think we just ran with it because it wasn't, with just a pulley repair we were able to continue running it, so that was beneficial. We did later on do some repairs for pulleys. We had some pulley bearings, and I don't know if that was just age or the water, nothing extreme. We did some other repairs as well later on on that, as for a coolant crossover manifold. But it was like we had it all together and we ran it, and we just did these repairs, and later on you can see these in other videos that we have. But
so yeah, now at this point we got the engine running, we had it drivable, we were still on everything stock, suspension, drivetrain, everything like that, stock exhaust. So we knew we wanted to up it up. So we're trying to do NASA road course. We were going to do HPD to eventually get into time trials. So we knew we wanted a little bit of a baseline. We didn't want to run stock. We wanted to kind of get something a little better. So I think he was searching around on Marketplace and found, what'd you find?
I think that's when we ran into the guy from Cleburne, right?
Yes.
He sold us the HKS coilovers, which I think we just did a video on that recently, installing. But so we got the HKS coilovers, and we bought the wheels and tires off of. I'm looking at my cheat sheet here now. See a brand name, so I think it's Fitman Industries. You know, it worked out pretty well for there. We didn't get the wheels that we were looking for originally. You know, this whole COVID crisis has kind of thrown off things a bit, but we did find some that works. These XXRs actually look really great and handle and perform, you know, really well. So tire wise, I kind of took a shot at, and my friend partner in this whole thing is he was skeptical about, you know, some of the decisions I make on my own without asking him, and I think honestly the tire choice turned out really well.
No, yeah, so we went with the Federal 595s RRs.
I'm gonna use my cheat sheet down here. That does compute. Yep.
So yeah, didn't know what tire to run. First time trying to do everything. So I think it's going to be a great setup for the track. So I can't wait to see how it is, how it handles. And then, so we got suspension, wheels, tires. Next thing, we needed to get a little bit, to get it to breathe, we needed a little bit more power. Not a whole lot. We know we're not working with a ton of power, but we just wanted to breathe and be able to be hopefully a little more reliable.
So that's when we decided to do, we kept the stock air intake box, and we picked up a Perrin intake elbow. It got rid of the sound tube that runs into the cab, as well as one of the resonation boxes to help free up flow. Fairly cheap modification. We don't know what it actually made because we dynoed everything after we had all the modifications done to the car. But you know, as far as cleaning up everything and being cheap, it was, I think, you know, worked out really well. And then we have Unequal length manifold from Private Label Motorsports, I believe, is the manufacturer. We have a racing test pipe for the Cat because we were going to race it, so we decided to install a resonator from
Vibrant, I think is it.
Yeah, it's a Vibrant resonator, which we actually purchased in town from a friend.
Yeah. And
then we went with just a catback exhaust from Amazon, I think.
I think Spec-D. Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, bang for your buck, I think it's excellent.
Yes.
It's probably better than cutting off just the exhaust like a lot of people do, I think, but yeah, I think it's pretty close.
And yeah, and we've had a couple cheaper exhausts. He got a decent one for the S2000 when he still had the Honda engine in it, and the fitment on that one was not very good.
Dude, it's terrible.
So if you are looking at the Spec-D, actually the fitment is pretty good for the price. I mean, you're not getting, it's not perfect, but for what this is going to be, and not if, but when it goes off the track and we damage it, I'm not too worried about it. I don't want to damage it. It's a $300 exhaust instead of buying a titanium $1,500 exhaust.
$420.
Oh,
but it's okay. Not a big deal. And that could be, I don't know if you added in there just all the other modifications that we did. No, test pipes, that was $192. We did have to, I did have to claim that it was going to be for a racetrack only. You cannot buy the resonator or the test pipe without having a form nowadays, and so because it is a race car only, that we were able to do that modification. So
then the next thing, so now we have wheels, tire, suspension, exhaust, intake. We need to be able to brake a little bit better, or have more consistent braking. So we went with a Carbotech RX10 front and rear brake pads. We got recommendations from Forrest over at Texas Track Works about hey, just you got to start somewhere. They really like those brake pads, so we said, all right, so we're gonna get those. So excited to see how those work. Hopefully that should give us kind of an entry level baseline to know if we need to go stronger, more aggressive, change anything else, if we're having any brake fade, and go from there. And while we were doing that, we went ahead and also flushed all of the brake fluid, did a complete re-bleed of everything, so it's good to go.
At least then we have a baseline at that point in time to kind of determine, you know, like what we start out with. We don't know how long it had been. It could have been 180,000 miles on the current oil. It actually looked pretty good, but I know it's something that's overlooked by probably most people on a day-to-day basis. So I know the track guys that we've run into usually take care of that kind of stuff, but
yeah.
I know it's just such a simple security measure.
So then while we were there, we also grabbed some engine oil. We just did some Royal Purple engine oil and a filter just before the race. Just want to make sure everything's good to go. And then lastly, we need to correction. We have one last thing. So now we did all this, we need to tune it, right? So there's went back and forth, contemplating if we wanted different tuners, whatever else. So we went with ECU Tech or ECU Tech, however you want to pronounce it. And because of the fact that we had the idea that we're going to add some power adders later. So eventually, right now we'll be all right, but then down the road, if we want to go with a supercharger E85, it's just better to have that tune. So we went with that system. So we bought the actual tuner and the license, and they're not giving that away. So with the tuner and the license was $665.
And the dyno tune itself was $500 on top of that. So you know we're almost $1,000. You know you got to take into account taking it over there to go get tuned. You got your day. However, it's usually a weekday. You're going to cut out your work day now. So you know it costs well up into $1,000, $1,100 to go do that whole process.
So yeah. So shout out to Kelvin over at Dotson Tuning up in the Fort Worth area. Was able to squeeze us in, gave us a nice tune. I think we ended up with 187 to the wheels, so pretty consistently. It kept pulling. Did about 3 or 4 pulls, and it was, I think the first one was 188, and then it was just 187 consistently after that. So a good power range, and pretty happy with it. So, and then I think the last thing then was corner balance and alignment. So obviously we want to try to set up the car so it's balanced appropriately for the racetrack, and that we have the alignment that we need. So with that, we took it to Texas Track Works, also over in the Fort Worth area, and man, talk about some great guys. They were very detailed, helped us explain a lot what we needed to do, what we needed to look into. They set everything up. We got it to a 50-50 balance. Got our driver weights and everything in there, set the ride height, set the little bit of the rake that we needed as well, and man, it should be, just from that alignment alone helped the street feel so far, made it seem so much better already. So we're definitely pretty excited to see how this thing handles this weekend. So be pretty cool. So with that, it ended up being with an alignment and a corner balance was $385. So I think that wraps up
alignment and corner balance, which I paid for, was $538. So I don't know where you're getting that discount from.
$538? What did I say? Did I say $350?
Three something.
Well, dyslexia is
maybe
right at you.
$358 is what he was trying to say, but it's $538.
$538. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, we'll get that, and we'll have the tally up here. So I didn't have all this added up, but we'll
add that complete total number here up there, because I'm not going to do the mathematics here in my head.
So then we'll have our total amount, so you guys can see. This is about.
Could you try again?
No.
So that way you guys can see this is pretty much what it would cost if you were wanting to do it, if you were wanting to buy your own car. Obviously some things would change depending on what car you bought, what wheels, tires, that kind of stuff is set up. But this is what we want. We wanted to share with you so you kind of understand how much it cost. We didn't know, so we just kind of went into it a little blind, not knowing. Thankfully, we're sharing the expenses together, so it's only half the cost. So, but yeah, just wanted to give you a nice breakdown, kind of give you an overview of everything on it. Other than that, it's pretty well still stock. We picked it up and it's got 170 something thousand miles on the body, and it looks fabulous, if I say so myself.
It probably looks better than actually most of my lower mileage cars. Whoever owned this before honestly took very good care of it. So I'm impressed, and especially if it was a Texas only vehicle, I've noticed that there's a lot of rock debris on the highways from the rock trucks. So honestly, dude, it is immaculate for somebody that put this many miles on it in this period of time with the condition that it's in. So
yeah. So
it will almost be terrible someday for me just inside to fully race mode it, pull out the interior, because everything works. Everything is immaculate, like I said. So
yeah, and with the if you don't know, they started off with the Scion Subaru. They both kind of went collabed on it. This Subaru actually has push button start, and the FRSs don't. So it's got push button start, keyless entry. It's like all that stuff. We're heated seats, so when we're on the racetrack, we can throw on the heated seats. So yeah, that's me. So yes, it'll transition from what the state it is to the state it's going to hopefully evolve to. Obviously, we feel like if we're going to be racing competitively, we're going to need the safety. We're going to need the roll cage. We're going to be able to do all that. But we want to enjoy it the way it is now and grow with the car. So when we get faster, the car will get faster, and the car will get safer so that we can stay safe.
well, that'll be the benefit too, is how much money we've actually put into this. It handles street feel really well, and I think we could take hundreds of pounds off the car by taking components away from the inside, and that'll just be free essential horsepower. And
great point. He's talking about weight. We did on total weight. We were at 29.59 with our.
With 250 pounds, 215 pounds.
I wasn't going to say it, but yes.
That's me. I'm the fat one.
So
that would be another actually cheap way to lose weight and be faster, is to not eat so much. So
driver mod.
We'll take that into account someday.
So yeah, I don't think there's anything else that we have. We're going to be doing a little things in the future, probably aero, the roll cage, that kind of stuff. But nothing right now. This is probably the way it's going to stay for this season, and then it'll kind of see what comes for next season. So if you like stuff like this and you like what we're doing and you want to kind of see this car evolve into what it's going to be, please like, subscribe, comment. If you got any questions, we'd love to hear what you guys think, and we will, I guess, see you on the next one. So
couldn't have said it any better.
All right, we'll see you guys later.